The transition of the domestic industry, which could only produce pins, to the unmanned aerial vehicle producing technology. Or let's say, think of an economy. Software developers used to be accused of smuggling, but now creates unicorn software companies. Hi there, in this video we will compare Turkey's performance on industry and technology before and after 2002. Now, put down all your prejudices and misinformation slowly and discover the truth with me. Some may know, when Netash exported 2 billion worth of software in 1992, it was said there is no truck, there is no bill of loading. How come this export happened? The company were accused of fictitious export. The executives who could not convince the government officials found the solution by saving the software on large film reels. As you know, let alone mobile storage devices, there was not even a compact disc at that time. While the company executives were thinking of a solution, luckily they issued a customs document saying $2,000 per meter or 1,000 meters of software. Then they got away with that. Meter as a measure of a software sounds funny, huh? They exported the software as it were potatoes. There are dozens of similar tragicomic stories in the past of this country. Aircraft factories were shut down, aborted national car manufacture, murdered engineers of tech companies. So, what happened? And the things has started to change after 2002. How come Turkey has become one of the 6 countries capable of producing unmanned aerial vehicle? Or let's ask another way, what has changed in a country where software export is considered as a fictitious export, but now capable of creating unicorns? Let me answer. First of all, it was not that easy.
Legal notice. The numbers and rates in this video are completely real and verified.
You can check what is explained here, ask the person who you want, or even go and see it with your own eye. Let's examine it one by one now. While reviewing, let's use figures and examples to see the development and compare what has been achieved in 80 years versus 18 years. 28 development agencies in 81 provinces were established. The fate of the cities were not determined by sitting in Ankara, the capital, just as the state planning organization did in the past. Each province's development agency was established on site, and the state said its staff, you will live here, and whoever wants to invest here, you will help with all your might. Moreover, these development agencies allocate approximately 1 billion Turkish lira grants to the investors every year so that they can increase their capacities, make new investments, produce new products. Until today, nearly 10 billion Turkish lira has been distributed to industry and technology companies. Another move, KOSGEBs, which were idle, have been activated. Do you want to participate in a fair, promote your product, open a shop for your wife, combine the businesses with your neighbor? Do you have a new invention, or will you innovate your product? KOSGEB gives you financial support when you apply for all these through a project. In any scale, big or small, it doesn't matter. In short, KOSGEB distributed approximately 30 billion Turkish lira grants to investors in 80 years. How much grant did KOSGEB distribute until 2002? Not even 1 billion Turkish lira. Now, let's talk about technoparks. Maybe it's hard to believe, but in 2002, there were only 2 technoparks in Turkey. And these technoparks did not work properly. More precisely, they couldn't show any existence because there is no grant, no infrastructure, there is nothing they could do. Currently, there are a total of 81 technoparks in Turkey, exactly 40 times bigger than what it was in 2002. While TÜBİTAK funded approximately 1,100 research and development projects of the private sector until 2002, the institution supported 70.5 thousand projects between 2002 and 2019. Again, while the research and development grants provided by TÜBİTAK to the private sector was only 750 million Turkish lira until 2002, it was 12 billion Turkish lira between 2002 and 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, Can you calculate the difference? 16 times bigger than what it was in 2002. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but let me tell you about Eximbank. This bank was founded in 1987 by the former President Turgut Özal. This is not like the banks you know. This bank is not the bank where you deposit money and pay bills or make money transfers. It is much more similar to British Business Bank. The bank was established to support exporters. Anyway, this bank works very well between 1987 to 1993. When Turgut Özal passed away, the bank had become idle. And after 1993, the bank was only capable of paying the personal salary. In short, the bank couldn't perform its main function. At the end of 2002, the bank has started to operate how it is supposed to be. The bank has provided an average of $30 billion credit and insurance to support exporters in the past 18 years. Moreover, the Ministry of Commerce has provided 46 billion Turkish lira grants for exporters in the last 18 years, completely grant. Simply, no one asks you to pay back. In exchange of what? The ministry expected these companies to open stores abroad, set up warehouses, promote their brands and sell their products. The result, Turkey is realizing the whole one-year export of 1995 just only in 1 month now. That's it. Turkey's exports exceeded $50 billion in January 2021. Let's speak about incentive certificates. What does it mean, investment incentive certificate? The state says you invest, establish a factory, create employment opportunities, make production. In exchange, I collect exceptional amount of taxes from you. Do not pay premiums for so many years. Get a free land to build your own factory. Benefit from low interest rates for your loan and so on. In the last 18-year period between 1984 to 2002, the private sector made an investment of 267 million Turkish lira. Hold on now. How much investment do you think has been made in the last 18 years? Let me say, almost 81,000 investment incentive certificates were issued. That is, 81,000 investments were made. And the total amount of these investments was 1,500 billion Turkish lira, approximately $450 billion. Exactly 6 times bigger than the investment made between 1984 to 2002. And more importantly, these investments have provided job opportunities for 3 million people, additional 3 million jobs. Let's make a comparison to understand this figure better. Do you know how much civil servants employed currently by the public? Approximately 4 million. The investments made in 18 years has created 70% employment capacity of what the state employs currently. Look, the state provides this size of employment right now. The employment realized by these investments is that size. Moreover, foreigners made 416 investments, which is around 340 billion Turkish lira. In other words, investors contributed to the development of the region by investing, producing, exporting, and creating employment opportunities in the place where they have invested. So much incentive, so much grants, increasing production and exports. There is no place left to set up another new factory. All organized industrial zones were filled with factories and overflow. So, what did the ministry do as a solution? The Ministry of Industry has established new organized industrial zones. The number of OIZs, which was 140 before 2002, increased to 334 in last 80 years. Think about like this. OIZs were opened in 80 years are this amount. OIZs were opened in 80 years are that. Now, let's summarize all this talk. Organized industrial zones were established. Until 2002, number of OIZs in Turkey was 140, which is 340 currently, almost tripled. Financial and technological support was provided through development agencies to those who wanted to invest. There was no development agency before 2002. Thus, there were no grants and technical support provided to the investors before 2002. But now, there is 26 development agencies and the grant they have supplied has reached 10 billion Turkish lira as of now. The support provided to businesses by KOSGEB was around 1 billion Turkish lira before 2002. In the last 80 years, approximately 12 billion Turkish lira has provided to small and medium-sized enterprises by KOSGEB. 47 Turkish lira support was provided since the Credit Guarantee Fund established until 2002. The amount of support in 80 years is 350 billion Turkish lira, 10,000 times. Between 1984 to 2002, the private sector invested of 267 million Turkish lira. Between 2002 to 2020, 1,500 billion liras, 6 times bigger. The Ministry of Commerce encouraged companies to increase exports. 46 billion Turkish lira support was given so that the products produced in Turkey could reach the world markets. Before 2002, it was not even 1 billion, 50 times. 81 new technology development zones have been established, which was 2 in 2002, 40 times. With TÜBİTAK, the companies were supported to produce technology. 70,500 projects were funded, which was 1,100 projects, 60 times. And these technology companies were funded only 750 million Turkish lira until 2002. The amount of support provided in 80 years is 12 billion Turkish liras, 16 times. So whatever has been done in the past 18 years for improving investment infrastructure is 60 times, 40 times, 50 times bigger than the developments achieved during 80 years. It is much more clear right now in the transition of the domestic industry, which could only produce pins, to the unmanned aerial vehicle producing technology. How Turkey transformed from a country that considers software exports as a fictitious export to a country creates billion scale of software companies. This is literally called a revolution, Turkey's industrial and technological revolution.